Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It's March 25th, 2023. Joining me today is Matt.
Hello.
My buddy from MUFON. MUFON
Yep.
Matt.
MUFON.
MUFON Matt.
Yeah, so MUFON Matt. I like that. That's good. I'll take that.
What's going on, Matt? Matt's got some sightings.
I do.
We got to talk about some sightings.
Yes, I've got a lot of sightings.
Do you, so why do you have so many? Do you watch the skies a lot?
I do.
I know you're a truck driver, so you don't watch, too much.
Yeah, I got to keep my eyes on the road, right. Yeah, as a kid, I was always looking at the sky. I love planes, I love jets.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I love jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll follow all the new and latest technology.
Yep.
So
yeah.
what'd you see, buddy?
So back in, my first sighting was 79, Richmond, California. We were driving to go see my dad in Point Richmond. We lived at the kind of the end of Richmond, right before you get to Richmond. So we were going down, I think it was Canal or Richmond Parkway. I was in the back seat of a giant station wagon because we're talking 79.
Oh, wow.
The big boats. And I'm always looking at trains. As a kid, I also loved trains. So I look over, and right where the train yard is, right in the back there is a Richmond Standard Oil refinery. So as I'm looking over, right kind of alongside a smokestack was 3 silvery cigar-shaped UFOs, saucers, the classic saucer. And I'm like, what is that? Mom, look. And she wouldn't look. She was driving. She's one of those, don't mess with her while she's driving. And she ended up almost hitting me because I'm like, Mom, what is that? What is that? So they were just going really slow, like line to line, end to end, moving. And I knew it wasn't a reflection because when it went behind the smokestack, it came out the other side. And so she's driving like 45 miles. It probably was about a minute. And you got to say I was 9 or 10 years old. And I was just in awe. Again, I loved helicopters, airplanes. I knew everything about military craft that young because I had read a lot of books. Right, So as soon as I saw that turned everything upside down. So 43 years later, I've read a million books. I've documentaries. It's always been, in the back of my mind, what are these? And to me, I think it's the biggest. It would be the biggest, thing in the world. Are we alone? It doesn't seem like we are.
Yeah, well, there's something. I mean, there's obviously something out there. I haven't really seen a whole lot.
Right.
But, again, we went to the MUFON meeting.
Right.
I met you at the MUFON meeting.
Right.
You reached out because I knew you'd be.
Yeah. I love the show, so I've listened.
I appreciate it.
Hey.
It's pretty awesome. But you had. One of your parents was in the military. Did
yes,
you go
my
on
father.
base?
Yes, I used to go on Travis Air Base all the time. Back when because my mother met my father there. She was like a key punch operator.
Yeah,
is that even right? So he was in the military. She was a civilian. They met. They started dating, got married, and I went on the base a few times, and then she went to Mare Island. And so I've been on that base for a while. Yeah.
And you had, so that was it.
That was the one I had.
It's interesting. Which direction were they going?
They were headed towards, west. So they were kind of going up. They were definitely above the refinery. And they were heading like towards the bay. I kind of lost sight of them after a couple minutes because she wouldn't look and she wouldn't slow down. I'm 10 years old. She's not going to stop. And I went and talked to my dad about it because that's where I was headed to go hang out with my parents are separate or divorced. Yeah. So I went to, and he's like, yeah, there's a lot of mysteries. And he just kind of, I think he kind of helped make me even more intensely wondering what this was. Cause he's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of things out there, that we don't know what they are.
My dad was the same way.
Yeah.
He was very, kind of, he's a good guy and,
right.
Outward and all that. But he just said, he helped me too, because if he says, he goes, there's just too many stars and things out there. He goes, a lot of those are, suns just like ours and they have planets around them.
Right.
So, the odds of there not being something out there are pretty astronomical.
I think I heard something about, I even wrote it down, about there's so many, there's 100 billion galaxies. And for every galaxy, there's like 100 million stars. Yeah. Where every 100 million stars, there's at least one planet. And there's probably like 50,000 Goldilocks planets where we're close enough to a brown dwarf star and has water. So at possibility of there's 50,000 civilizations out, because this universe is a lot bigger than most people think.
Well, it's the problem is, and like we see the Eric Weinstein, and we're going to have to figure out how to get off this planet at some point,
right?
Because
the star.
Well, something else, something could hit. I mean, civilization's been, blown up and
rocked,
redone at least 4 times. I think. I mean,
at least.
You watch Ancient Apocalypse?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Graham, what's that guy's name?
Graham Rendell, or
I can't think it was. I always know Graham.
Yeah,
but they find the thing with his is that. Something's going to happen.
Right.
He doesn't really say that. He just says something. It's happened over and over, and they're not going to rewrite the history books.
Right.
So that your typical, university guy that's written publications and things isn't going to go back on what they say and what's written.
Oh no, yeah, they're not going to go. I'm mistaken.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can we erase that?
So it's one of those things where we got to get off the planet, and we're not going to do it with these type
fuel.
of fuel.
Jet propulsion is not the way. It takes too long.
With what we use, and it takes. And look how long it takes us to do anything. Artemis. The Artemis. We followed the Artemis mission, and it took a long time just to get to that point, and then it orbits the moon, and then comes back, and then it's 3 years until we send people up. I mean, we're so careful.
Right.
Give it to Musk. He'll just do it next week.
Civilization, Mars, boom, instant.
Well, then China's over there, and it's
they're
like,
steadily increasing.
It's good. By the time China's there, Russia's probably going to be there on the backside. The moon at the meeting they talked about the moon. I know a lot. I don't know a lot.
Right.
I know a lot. I've studied a lot about what the moon could be.
Right.
And the odds of it. The moon. If you see a solar eclipse, it eclipses out the sun perfectly.
Right.
What are the odds of that happening?
Yeah, that's got to be rare. Right.
So there's this theory that it's artificial.
Yeah.
It's hollow.
Yep.
It could have been brought here through maybe a wormhole from another
somebody
civilization.
Put a flagpole in it and it rang and hummed and rang or something.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that theory before.
So, and then we went there, and in the 70s we stopped going. You know, there's the other theory, there's the other story that I was in the theory. My theory is that there was aliens there, and there's structures there, and there's spacecraft there.
Some of the astronauts had mentioned something like that too.
And one of the stories is we were approached and said, "Get out and don't come back."
Off my moon right now. Get the hell off my moon.
So now the Chinese and the Russians are, on the backside where we can't see.
Yeah.
So by the time we get there, it's going to look like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So.
I just want a moon, souvenir. I'm just here for the souvenirs. A little dust in a bottle. It's probably radioactive, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's fun. Don't worry about that.
You'll be all right. You're right. Yeah.
So you've had other sightings?
I have. So my second sighting, which was years, I got a notebook because I ain't bad with numbers. 91. Me and the ex-wife were in Vallejo, sitting on the porch. We lived high on a hill. I think it was like Alabama Street. And I always made jokes to her that, stick around, kid, you're going to see some things. That was only after the first one. There's a lot of in-between things where I'm like, I don't know what that is. That's definitely not a plane. So we're sitting there, and this is around like 8 or 9 o'clock. This is a mass sighting, actually, because it was on the news. And my old band, one of my band members at the time, called me the next day and like, did you see that? And so we literally got a great show. So it was kind of a football shaped, and she said it was way bigger than a blimp. It had tiny lights on the outside, and it had strobing lights that weren't bright, but it was well lit up and it was glowing. And the lights were making some weird sequence. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't a weather balloon or swamp gas.
It's always the weather balloon.
Yeah, or swamp gas back in the 50s. That was the golden age. So it was just slowly traversing across the sky. It wasn't like wavering. It was just moving. And this is kind of what, 91. We didn't know, nobody had a cell phone that, unless you were rich, and I wasn't rich. So as it's going by, she's looking at me and she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I told you this was going to happen." And I didn't remember this fact. I remembered it continuing on, and she goes, No, it just kind of blinked out. It was gone.
Yeah. So
again, it was on the news. I think the newspaper, Vallejo Times Herald, posted something, mass sighting. A lot of people see this. That was a crazy one. Yeah, that was, again, a round shape, Unfortunately, it wasn't a Tic Tac.
I always say I'm not a fan of the lit. I know the soft lights in the bottom is probably part of the propulsion system.
Yeah, that's what I think the lights are for.
Or not really the propulsion. It does something. I don't know. Or there's one.
Right.
The lit, when I hear these reports of it had these lights on it.
Yeah.
What are they? They don't need lights.
No, right. Right.
They shouldn't need lights.
Right. And all the headlights are pulled down. We're missing a light. I need to get this fixed. No, I don't think it is for
I'm not a fan of the lit up, they had lights on,
Yeah.
They had windows and there was beings looking out and waving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the old the golden era.
But it's interesting about all the different sightings you hear about. Like the meeting. Yeah. There's the one guy say, "I was in the military and I can't talk about it."
Right? Yeah. Like stop.
Might
Come
be killed.
On. Stop.
Yeah. Well, did you do an NDA?
No.
So
you're out of the military. I'm sure they don't care.
Yeah. It's like, of all the, I'm reading that Project Serpo book, and they do we ended from that chapter of when the Reagan disclosure.
Okay.
About where he had the briefing about the Roswell crash and what we got out of it.
Right.
And it came out in FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
FOIA.
And so that information came to Serpo from somebody had to initiate that FOIA.
Right.
And they don't automatically release secrets. You have to ask.
And if you listen to John, was it Green? The Black Vault, John Greenwald. They're not easy, and you have to ask specifically. You can't just go, "I want everything on UFOs." No.
Yeah, Roswell. Anything says Roswell, they won't do it. I need a date. I need. I need a location.
Yes, exactly. And you've got to know what form you're looking for and what they're kind of what it's on there. So you're right. It's not very easy.
I don't know how much the Serpo is true, but the fact that somebody knew how to get that, whoever knew how
something.
to get that interview released knows something.
Right.
Somebody.
Again, you have to know something. You can't just go, "I want everything on this."
Must have been there.
Yeah.
And he's the one that, he's the mystery person.
Right, or somebody talked to him.
Yeah.
Maybe, a leak.
Yeah. It could be. That also could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot. I mean, look at all the leaks we're getting now, from like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp.
George Knapp.
Yeah, and all of his
they've got their new show.
His are good, too, because, the Pentagon's, except for the last, I think, the Baghdad, what is it called? Phantom. They're like, "Yep, what he's showing you is right. That we shot that, or that was our video." So I mean, these leaks are pretty strong now.
Well, allegedly there's going to be a disclosure this year about something.
Yeah.
And that's what Weinstein was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like they're slowly funneling information out.
Right.
And so the American public won't freak out.
I mean, they admitted 2017 that they're real, and I have a shirt that says that. So they're real, and we don't know what they are. Boom! I mean, that's the pathway to disclosure. At some point they're like, "Okay, 70 years. What are you talking about? You guys are crazy. There's nothing out there there's something out there and we don't know what they are." So
yeah, and with the Tic Tac thing and all that, I mean, got released. They didn't have to release that.
Right. A lot of people don't realize, unless you follow us for so long, Tic Tacs have been around for, not TikTok. Tic Tacs have been around for a lot longer than just over the East and West Coast. I remember reading a lot of books with Tic Tac shaped. I think they called them like propane tanks.
Yeah.
You see a lot of those, and again, I love the sightings and what they see. So I remember reading a few Tic Tacs before, early 1900s.
It's fun. Yeah, Roswell. Everything's depicted as a flying saucer. Right. But it really wasn't.
No,
it was more or less egg shaped.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was two craft that hit each other.
Yep.
And then and this is something I just learned just very recently, that the one crash we heard about the second crash.
Right.
But the second crash they didn't discover for 2 more years.
Right.
And then they found decomposed alien bodies.
Yeah. The Trinity case, I think, was earlier. But yeah, you're right. They didn't find it for years. So
yeah, it's interesting. So how you went to the UFO convention?
Yeah, it was cool. It was good. Yeah, I saw John Ramirez was there, but he didn't talk because he was the next day. He went for Saturday. Steve Bassett, really, really good. Look him up on YouTube. That guy's pretty much got it all like centered down, and I think he was talked for an hour. But I took my son because he's had a few sightings back when he was a kid, younger. Yeah, it was good. It was good. They had the vendor, and there was a lot of people there, and it was awesome. Yeah.
Did they have any podcasters there or anything like
that? I did. I think. Let me think about that. No, I didn't see any vendors for the podcasters, and I don't remember if I don't think they had any of them speaking too.
Because there was my son sent me one. Robert sent me a deal down in L.A. where you can, and really it's not very expensive for like $150. You can get a small.
That's pretty good.
Small area.
Right.
With a chair and a table.
Is that the Alien Con?
I don't Glendale or
okay.
I don't know. It was one of some LA, one of those LA areas. So yeah, I don't know though. It's I don't know if I want to
possibility
merch. I've got merch designed and things. I mean. But this isn't really a money-making thing for me.
Right, yeah. And like I said,
UFO, but we've got the cards with the QR codes on them and
That's
stuff.
That's cool.
And it's, but how big was the convention?
It wasn't as big as, so I went to one back in the 90s, and that was huge. I think they rented, where was that at? I think, oh goodness, I don't remember where. I know it was a huge place. There was they had speakers in different rooms going on at many different times. It was about a medium-sized one. I mean, they had the whole bottom part of the hotel. But again, it was awesome. I haven't been in a while. It was my son's first one. He enjoyed the heck out of it.
How long did it take you to get through it?
Goodness. So it went from, we got there late because I woke up late because I like to sleep on the weekends. We got there around 11, and we left. It was going to go all the way from 11. I think the speakers stopped around 6. So they literally had speakers all the way from 11 in the morning till 6. And then that was just Saturday. They had it Friday, and they had it Sunday. But I can only make the Saturday one. And yeah, I mean, they had a lot of speakers, a lot. And there was a few really good ones I missed. I think there's a way you can go and watch them. Probably go to the UFO Con 2023 website.
Have you been to the thing in Davis, that little UFO?
I have not. And it's funny. So when I first found out about it, I took it to Dev at the MUFON meeting. And, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go next week. And then things happen. I still have not been there. They invited me to be there. They wanted me to speak there. And I'm
really?
like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know. So, yeah, they wanted me to speak. The guy's like, I emailed him, and he's like, you get free passes. Bring your group here. And we're like, we'll wait and see what's going on there first. But, yeah, I have not been there. I've had friends gone there, and they loved it. So I have not been there yet.
I don't know how big it is.
It doesn't look. I saw pictures. It looks like a
store, kind of
like a shoe store size. You know, it's I'm sure it's bigger than that.
I thought it was only going to be there a limited time.
So did I. And then I have friends again. Somebody sent me a picture last week And I'm like, oh, they're still there? Like, okay, good. That's awesome.
I'll have to drag down.
I went to the one in Roswell.
Oh, yeah, my son did.
Yeah,
too.
that one was cool. It was cool. That whole town is set up for UFOs and UAPs and stuff.
Yeah, he had his trailer, and his trailer park he parked that was UFO themed.
Right, yeah. I mean, they line the streets on the lamps, and
They're working it.
They're working it. If anybody's trying to make money out of this, they're one of them. They're probably up there.
I should just be based there. Call it.
I'm sure
bring my trailer there.
Property can't be that expensive there, right? I mean, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It really is out in the middle of nowhere.
That's the only thing there. The only
yeah. Like, we need a cash flow somewhere.
Wouldn't even be there if it weren't for the crowd.
right. 47, so...
So, how many MUFON meetings? Now, was it MUFON?
I know. I probably shouldn't represent it. I say I know it's MUFON, but I can tell you now, 90% of the people I've heard say MUFON.
I've said MUFON for many years.
You're fine. You're. I'm sure you're gonna pass, right, Deb? He gets a pass on that.
Sorry, Deb. I don't think Deb listens to us.
But she's Deb gonna listen to this one.
No, she does allow us to post though. We post on the Facebook
on the group. Yeah,
and it's very kind of her to do that. And I only send her like we did Bigfoot last week. I don't send anything that's not UAP or UFO related.
I just started getting into Bigfoot stuff about 3 years ago.
Yeah, Corey.
Yep.
I heard Bigfoot is not my
thing.
No, Bigfoot's not my thing.
I have a theory on Bigfoot.
What's the Bigfoot?
So my theory is that we're the aliens, and Bigfoot has always been on this because he's more adapted for forest and coldness and all that, according to all the the sightings and the theories and stuff. I think we're the aliens, and Bigfoot's this is his place. That's why he's always mad when people show up in the forest and start hunting off his animals and cutting down trees.
I think it's just interdimensional, and
they're
running out of food in their dimension. And they got to pop in here to hunt some deer. And
the other theory was aliens bring them here kind of like a pet, and they're like, go ahead, go ahead, do what you want. When you're done, we're going to come back and get you and put you on the ship.
Let your stray dog go. You don't want it anymore.
You could be right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my favorite. Let's just put it this way. It's not my favorite topic, but there is a up north, about mid-state somewhere, like Eureka, but not Eureka, but like horizontally.
Right.
And in the mid-state, there's a Bigfoot. They call it Bigfoot Museum, but it's it's. So I told Deb, okay, we're gonna. They have a dog friendly. Everywhere I go, I got to take my dog Max.
Right.
Max was on a couple weeks ago. We had him on.
Nice.
He was up on the bed, so I let everybody see him
because
he can't leave his mommy.
Right.
Max is Deb's dog for sure. I take him. I'm allowed to take him to work.
That's cool.
Take him to the office
because
he's awesome. He's gonna bark if you see him.
Yeah,
he's gonna bark like crazy.
Right. He's like, "Who is this?
Who is it?" Well, it's always coming. He just thinks it's me, and then he's like, "Oh, wait, it's a stranger danger." But I take him to work, and he looks depressed the whole time.
Does he? Is he bored?
Bored. His mom's not there.
Right.
Max Shepard is not happy.
My wife's dog's.
Then when Deb gets there to pick him up, he's only there. I only had doggy daycare for half a day.
Right.
And then usually when it's raining really hard or thunder, he doesn't like thunder. He hides in the bathroom.
I don't think any dog. My dogs freak out. They hide under the bed. They don't like any fireworks. Are the worst.
I don't know what it is. He goes in the bathroom, lays down. You think you're safe there?
Yeah, does he? Yeah. My dog used to hide behind the toilet. That's the worst place to hide, I think.
Yeah, it is the worst place to hide. Not because of the thunder.
Right. Like, you don't want to be down there.
That's other thunder.
Go hide under the bed. The bed's a good plot.
So the MUFON meeting. So how many of you attended?
I've attended probably about 3 or 4. I just found it when I moved up here. I'm like, I'm wondering if I didn't even know I've been with MUFON for a lot longer than just, the 3 or 4
Yeah, I've been
months.
a card carrying member.
Yeah, I'm a card carrying member. Yeah, for a long time.
You're VIP member?
Yeah. Not about VIP. I pay the lowest amount I can get, so I'm probably not VIP.
Mine says VIP on it.
Does it?
Maybe I clicked the wrong box.
Oh, man.
I'm not paying attention to the money.
Yeah, right. So you get the emails and stuff like that. So yeah, 3 or 4, and I love them. I do. I really like it because I'm around my peoples, and I'm not getting that side look. Yeah, like, what is this guy talking about?
It's funny because at work, I talk to a lot of people. That's why I carry the cards with the QR codes with the.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I will pass those out. Yeah,
so
ask for it.
Whenever people, where do I find it? They can just. My son is awesome. Thank goodness he's a tech guy.
Yeah, he said all this.
I set your QR code up. You need to be using that QR code.
That's cool.
So
and I'll post those too. I'm all over groups.
Yeah,
and Facebook
thank you.
and,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So so you've been to a few meetings.
Yes, I love the meetings. It's funny how when I first went, it was about half that room you saw, and then as soon as the MUFON episode on Ancient Aliens came on, we were full packed to the. And Dev's like, I hope I don't have to turn people away because we can't go anywhere else, so we're gonna have to start
That's
charging
what she
people.
said last week. Well, just charge. Yeah. Just go somewhere better.
Yeah, if you have to. Yeah. I mean, if it gets so, but that's good though. I think the more people that show up, that's a good thing.
Yeah, the demographics. Yeah. Interesting. It's kind of
it really is
kind of an older group.
It is kind of an older group.
They had Tammy
Yes.
She's
the one that investigated my last sighting.
Did she? What happened there?
So that one is actually on. I investigated it. So I had video for all of that. So basically, if I can roll it off quick in a nutshell, it was a Friday. I was coming back from a show. I went to go see a metal rock show in Vacaville. So as I'm driving up to the causeway between Davis and Sacramento, there's the YOLO swamplands.
Is that the video you sent me?
That is, yeah. So the first thing I noticed was there was 2 round looking, and I'm going to say orbs because it's dark, you can't see any shape. So they were at a weird angle, and it almost, as I'm driving, it almost looked like a plane flying sideways with lights on both ends of the wing. And so as I'm going, it starts evening out, and it's moving like this, and it's only 2. This is before I started recording. So, of course, Mr. Me always looking at the sky, but driving good.
Yes, always looking good.
Yeah. It popped. A third light pops on. I'm like, oh no, that doesn't happen. So I literally scramble for my phone, slow down to about 55. I'm not driving and holding my cell phone. And so all of a sudden, it's 3 lights, and they start evening out. I'm doing 55. I'm looking around, and nobody on the highway is passing me. And I'm like, okay, are other people seeing this too? So I'm recording it as it moves on a little bit. There's no beacon, so I know that's not a plane.
There's nowhere to pull over there too.
No, there really isn't. You can't. Yeah. So once
you're
on
the road.
Right. If I'd have known sooner, I would have pulled over before. Because right there's a little thing, and you can look over the swamplands.
You on the causeway?
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, it's a
halfway.
lane.
Right. I'm halfway up through the causeway, and then a 4th light. It's funny because the 3 lights are kind of like this. One starts backing up, and you'll see the video. The other one just pops on. I don't know anything that just runs dark and then just pops on. Yeah. And there was 4 running, and then we got all the way to the end of the causeway. I pulled over because I'm like, I'm really invested at this point because I'm videotaping it. So as I pull over and get to, I think it's like a Starbucks. I'm looking at them this way because most of the viewing of it was in my passenger side window. I rolled the window down, and as I pull forward, 2 stop and go back the other way. The same way I was coming from, and the other 2 dropped down. And I don't know what that. I'm like, maybe drones. But it was super bright. They were about probably a good half a mile away, from where the Highway 80 runs to the swampland area.
Yeah.
I was like that. I've never seen anything run dark where it's like just 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights. That's crazy. So she investigated it. She looked up all the plane there. In fact, in the video, you can see a plane above, and if you're on the other side of it, that's basically the it's kind of far from the airport. It's a big runway, so you're gonna see planes on this side. Never really see much of anything on this side.
So you're on the Sacramento side, toward the downtown?
Headed towards, Sacramento.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
So she investigated it, and she's like, there was no drones in the area, no planes. They're in that specific spot, so it's still unknown.
Does she do it by phone, or how does she?
The interview?
Yeah.
The interview is done by phone, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's either done by phone or I think they can do it on the computer. I'm actually considering being an investigation for MUFON. I just, I'm worried about time because I play music, I work, I've got a family, so. But
play music.
Yeah.
Tell me about your.
I'm in we're kind of a Latin heavy metal band. The name of the band's Veronica Lucia. Go to us on Veronica Lucia.
How did you come up with that name?
They came up with the name. Her first name is Veronica. Lucia is kind of like, oh goodness, I should know this. It's kind of like the darker part. So because we're kind of more metal and we are fused with a little bit of Latin style and stuff like that. Is she
the singer?
Yes, singer and bass player. And then her husband is Rob, and he's the other two guitar players, basser, singer. And then we have to use drum tracks because finding a drummer is not easy anymore.
I don't understand why you got to get Bill Burr up here.
Yeah, I wish. We're progressive too, so a lot of changes, a lot of movement. Bill Burr would be great. Bill Burr, this is you.
Yeah, Bill, come on up.
We need you.
He's getting pretty good.
Right?
He's working on it. He's working on speed.
Yeah. He's going to need speed for this one. He's definitely going to need it.
Need the other speed, too.
Right, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I've been playing.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah,
keep busy.
Yeah, keep him busy. I'm always busy. Music, work, family,
I'm probably going to try to... I was going to ask if... if they needed another, if they need other investigators, I don't know. I
think they can always use investigators. I mean, California is like number one for sightings.
Yeah, so. California, Texas, and Florida.
Yeah.
If you look at the newsletter.
Yep.
But I don't know how many investigators do they have?
I don't know. I just know of like two. Dev, Tammy. And then I think there's one more that I've heard, but I could not come up with a name. So I think, if I remember right, Dev said, they need them.
Do they usually attend the meetings?
Not always. I mean, Tammy's been there a few times, in the last couple meetings.
Yeah.
So I don't think they always. And I think the meetings, you don't have to go to every meeting. Again, they're more like social, and you can hear. I notice a lot of new people that show up. We start with the new people, so most meetings are like, why are you here? Have you seen anything? What's your thoughts? So, and lately, the last two meetings have been mostly new people, and then towards the end, some of the
taking care
old
of
timers. I shouldn't say that. Some of the VIPs should kind of talk.
Is there some younger people there?
There is a few younger people. The first meeting I went, it was like a 23 and 30 year old people. So there is. They're kind of come and go again. I see like most of the normal people. But again, there's a lot more.
The normal.
Yeah. Well,
the guys, people like us.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Well, I don't know if younger people feel like they'd be ostracized if they told
their story
went public about the fact that they even.
At least this place is safe. That's what I mean. Yeah. It's because it's now normally. Well, how do I say
Well, in
this?
the 60s, if you do this,
right,
you don't want to go to your work.
Yeah, no.
And talk about, what, I believe in UFOs. Like, yeah, you're fired. Right. Because you're crazy.
It's funny how, since this all kind of came out, I've talked to, I mentioned it to coworkers, or they know I'm into this, how many of them have come to me and go, hey, I saw something back and blah, blah, blah. And I've gotten 2 or 3 different sightings from coworkers, my boss, and it's funny how once you start it, and they know, like, I remember I mentioned to you when that space debris was coming down, everybody was hitting me up. Hey, what's going on? Like,
my phone blew up.
Like, I know, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, it looks like space junk. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's not a comet. It's not got a tail long enough. It's burning. It's definitely space junk. And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was some Russian communication satellite.
Yeah. Yeah, but isn't it funny how everybody hits you up? I'm sure you're...
My phone, all of a sudden, just sitting there, all of a sudden... Right. What's going on? It was already too
Doug, what is it? Are we being attacked?
I'm the guy. You know,
Alien Pod
you know all about
headquarters.
this.
Lights start going off, and people are running in different directions.
Like
Papers are thrown in the air,
like a messed up bat signal. Yeah, there was a lot of communication like that. Yeah. I was just wondering the type of, anymore
it's
at work. There's a couple people at work where I work with an elder who works with my company,
right?
The company I work for.
They confide in you if they've seen something.
We talk about it openly.
Right,
Corey,
that's good. So do we.
We have a person that's seen that was in the Gulf of Mexico that actually saw the traditional.
Oh.
Yeah, she saw it. It was the traditional flying saucer.
Yeah. You don't see those anymore.
Well, it's funny how you kind of, it's almost like
orbs and triangles and lights, but you don't hear about. And I love that. That's my favorite era.
It's my favorite, but I'm thinking, why did it go away?
Right. I don't know. Right.
Is that like the Volkswagen?
Yeah. We're gonna park the
Model
saucers.
T.
We got these new triangles we can be flying. And these orbs. More orbs. I don't know. Right. I wonder that.
So you're familiar with Bob Lazar, right?
In fact, I've got him written down. Bob Lazar. So these two sightings I had. Again, you get into it, but then you start trailing. I started trailing off. Work, life got in the way, music, and all of a sudden I watched this documentary on Bob Lazar, and it was on YouTube. And
was it with Joe Rogan?
No, this is actually a documentary. I think it was a little bit before that.
Really?
Because that was kind of the second coming of Bob Lazar. Oh.
Yeah.
It was more the first one, and that threw me right back into it again. So.
Well, he's told the same story since the 80s.
He has, and that's what got me.
But some people can.
Right. Right.
And it's...
I think he was a little off on the college, and then people started picking on that part. But just because that's an inconsistency, he has no inconsistency to his story. He was right about this element 115, that was not even out yet. He knew about it, and the whole crash retrieval thing.
Well, there's some... he worked for EG&G.
Yep. Very quiet, private company.
But he only worked there for a couple of weeks. Did you know that?
Yeah. No, I thought it was longer.
No, he only had one paycheck in evidence.
Right.
That he worked there, unless he just didn't have the others. But that's one of the things that came out.
Yep.
Another one is that he didn't get the ultimate security clearance to get those kinds of things that he says he
claimed
saw.
He had. Right. So right.
And because, did you know why? You know why he didn't get it? His wife was having an affair with her
flight
instructor.
Yeah, that came out. Yep, I did that. I did hear about that.
These things, now, you don't know. He hasn't denied that, or feels like he has to deny it. But the other thing is, he's not really, they say, he's not looking to make any money on this.
Yeah.
So what is the reason he's going through all this?
Right.
He just wanted to get it out.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I believe that, because
that's the only reason. If I'm going to believe him,
right.
That's the only reason.
If he was making millions of dollars, it'd be harder for me to believe him. But the fact that he's not, there's no motivation.
It's easier to make, believe Corbell and Knapp less, because they are on just every, and they rehash. They have their podcast and they bring, you turn it on and it's the stuff that you and I have heard.
Yeah.
Over
and over again.
Okay, you guys are going to have to bring me something new.
My feeling is, let's say 95% of any of this is military tech, adversary stuff, weather phenomenon, whatever. You just put it, if 95% of it is something not, that is of this world, the 5% is what I care about. I don't care about the 95%, but there's a 5% that you can't say, none of this, just because one's wrong, not right, doesn't mean all of it's not right. So that's the part I've always held on to.
As rampant as it is, could be 1% would be okay.
It could be, yeah, exactly. Even 1%.
Yeah, as long as it's not 0.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's certain things out there, and that's why I like the older ones. The older videos, the older stories. Yeah. Because there was no drones. There was, at least that I knew of. I mean, I did. Yeah. What's a guy from Skunkworks said that we are 50 years advanced in technology than most people can ever imagine. We've always been able to get to the stars, but yet we still use rocket fuel, for the TV. But the guy from Skunkworks, and he'd passed. He was one of the ex-director. He said a lot of things basically on his deathbed before he went that,
Oh, yeah. Was that the guy that had the pictures?
Yes. Yeah. Rich something. Yeah.
He had all those pictures of the alien.
Yeah.
Now, that alien, Corey's debunking that.
Yeah. There's a lot of people debunking that.
Corey says that the alien, we actually saw the alien as a little doll or something in a hardware store during Halloween.
Yeah, right.
And I said, well, okay, maybe the doll was fashioned after what he saw.
Right, yeah, exactly. I know Alien Autopsy was debunked. I don't know if they show that they're working on some alien they got from a crash retrieval. I know that was debunked a few times.
But they say you don't know.
You don't know.
They say it's debunked.
To get people away from it. So, again, we don't really know. This is all...
Do we have... I mean, one of the things with Weinstein is, do we already have anti-gravity?
Right. That's, according to Bob Lazar, we do. According to that rich guy from Scotland, we've been had it.
Well, Lazar said that we could figure out most
not all of it.
But not...
Yeah.
And they had, Rick Doty.
Yes, yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And if he's lying, whatever. But he's got a lot of stories. And he says that we actually used one of their craft, but we couldn't figure out the propulsion.
Right.
And then he actually used
and Lazar said the same thing.
We had to use a small nuclear powered some type of propulsion with that.
Right.
And that's the one that sprayed out the stuff on those people.
Right.
The 2 women and the kid.
Yep, yeah.
And then they tried to sue, but they really didn't have any radiation burns.
They had like 22 helicopters following this thing down the road.
Yes. So, I don't know. It's just phenomenal about, all of the things that could be. But I mean, the reason that if we have anti-gravity, and they're hiding it.
Yeah, that's
we need to get off the planet.
Right. I mean,
they
they just put that thing out that diverted that they wanted to see if it would change the course of an asteroid. DART?
Yeah.
I think it was DART, where they shot this rocket basically up on some distant, faraway rock, and it literally moved it. So in case an asteroid comes flying out.
But still, that's the propulsion
is jet fuel, right. It's going to take a long time.
But I think if we have anti-gravity, the reason they're keeping it under wraps is that what would happen if they released it?
Right. And our adversaries get it.
Well, the other thing is they don't want to release it, I think, because... Well, cars.
Yeah.
You're going to have cars that can float around. Planes that can float around.
I'm not ready to fly.
And the oil companies are literally going to shit a brick.
That's right. That's right. The economy's going to tank.
But if we have it...
It needs to get out.
Bring it out. I mean,
we need it.
So do you have other sightings too?
I do. So I gave you the first, the second. The third one was a quick one. It was in, what year was that? And I want to say 96, 95. I was walking to work. Actually, I think the third one was between the first and the second one. So I'm probably wrong on the year. However, I was walking to work in Vallejo, California, right by Nations, Tennessee, and Sonoma. And again, I'm one of those, if I'm walking, I'm looking up. And I'm seeing these 3 silvery things just kind of going in and out of the clouds. These were way up there. These are probably good 10, 15,000 feet up. Kind of like airplane, which is probably higher. And I'm sitting there, and then my neck started hurting because I'm watching this for a little bit. So I walk on because I can't keep looking up. I look up, and then it's nothing. So that was a quick one.
Wow.
Yeah, these look like your old school silvery saucers. So,
is it the traditional? We don't have the. You're not seeing the traditional.
I don't. Yeah, right. I don't think anybody's seeing them anymore.
The Model T.
Yeah, and those are the most major ones. I think on my way to, because I drive to work at 3 a.m. So from here to Vacaville, I take the side roads because the freeway is a mess normally, and it's just easier to get there. And I've seen light. I've seen a light that pulsed out. It was bright, and it would fade, and then it just fades out. Also, kind of like what your sighting was, the triangle of stars. I saw the same thing. It blinked, and then it was gone. It could have been a satellite, but it was really bright, for being that far away. And then I've heard the whole CE5 theory of, I think these group of people were trying this. They were trying to summon something out between the three stars, and they did. And massive.
Is that Stephen Greer thing?
Yeah, CE5, where you can basically concentrate and bring them to you.
Basically, the pyramid scheme.
Yeah. He said it, not me. Don't be mad at me, Mr. Greer. No,
he's gonna call me.
Yeah. You know what? I'm tired of your crap.
I'm tired of your crap. Don't talk bad.
We're shutting down.
Bad about my stuff.
We're shutting down everything at Alien Poe Podcast. You guys, the headquarters. Is
my wife will be happy. It'll be 3 hours. She gets back from our weekend.
Maybe we should cahoots.
Yeah. We don't want to hear about this Alien Poe Podcast stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty much all of the sightings. I had a coworker. He saw and that was right. I think it was between Placerville and
the Cameron Park.
Cameron Park.
Yeah.
And they had a cabin over there. This is around 90. Tell me, and I'm bad. 92, I think. They were at, and this guy had nothing that he never saw. They had nothing to do with UFOs. They were just normal people. But it was him and his family. Said this rectangle thing came over, shot a beam down, and they were like, "What? What is that?" I mean, he said they were totally thrown off because people that don't see, it shot a beam down, went back up, just hovered there. He said it was black, like that Vanta black, and it blocked out stars. Yeah. And again, once you start talking to your friends about UFOs, they start telling you stories.
Yeah.
And he saw that, and then the boss saw one in the same area. Him and his wife were driving. He said there was a light above the freeway. All the cars started slowing down, so this is kind of a mass scene. It dropped down to about 1,000 feet over and it let off this green mist, and then it just shot straight up. And he said he looked out the window, and it punched a hole in the clouds, kind of like the sighting they had in Chicago.
Yeah.
With the O'Hara Airport where the thing shot up, and he saw this around probably the 90s.
A hole in the clouds.
And it's funny, again, you start talking to people now that it's kind of open and people are kind of, not judging you on it. It's funny how you get these stories of people like, I saw something we couldn't explain. So, yeah.
That is bizarre.
Isn't it bizarre? Yeah, it's something. There's something out there. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's something. Hopefully, they're going to have the disclosure this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line on it. I mean, we want to.
Lou Elizondo and the guy John Ramirez, ex-CIA. I've been listening to all these other, because again, I listen to like 30 podcasts a week, and they both referred 2027. In fact, Lou said in a few of them, I'm going to step away for 5 years, and I'm going to be back because you guys are going to have a lot of questions. Basically, he didn't say exactly
27
like
the new year.
2027. I hope 2020. I don't know if I want to wait 4 years. I'd rather get it now. But both those guys did refer 2027. And I don't know if John Ramirez did it because of what Lou said, or maybe he's got some inside information. But they both referred 2027.
Yeah,
or 2023. Just hope. No, sooner the better.
Lou, let's hurry, okay?
Does that shut all the alien stuff down once it's comes to light? Is everybody? I don't think it does. I think it probably.
Well, I don't know what they're going to disclose. That's the whole thing. Are
they
going to say that we've always known about UFOs?
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the government. You've probably heard us talk about the fact that. The government doesn't want to admit that they have known this the whole time because of the bad things they've done.
Did you ever hear the thing where the Air Force, when they were doing schooling, and there's a pamphlet that they gave to all these people, the academics, and I know I have a copy of it, and I'll try to send you a copy of it. So I want to say it was back in it was before I was born, so I think it was 65, 64, somewhere around there. That when you would join the Air Force, they literally gave you this pamphlet, and it was talking about how to report sightings and or not report them, but what there's things out there you could come across, and they had UFOs in them.
I have never seen that.
Yeah, I will send you that. I heard about that on a podcast. I had to write a few guys to get it. I can't remember the name of the ufologist, I guess, that you could and this is a legit document that they were giving to college, Air Force academy guys, rookies that were just starting out.
Oh,
and
amazing.
As soon as I found that out, I started really looking that up, and I happened to find it. Yeah. So I will definitely send you that, and you can make a whole probably 50-parter on that one.
Well, have you ever heard that there's a manual that firefighters use that I've heard rumor, I've never seen a copy of
right.
it. But there's a manual there's a chapter on how to deal with extraterrestrial
really?
Yeah. I would love to see that.
Yeah, take pictures and don't call the government. No.
I got a friend that's
I would love that, really.
Yeah.
So, there's a little secret there that, okay, so what
we're going to tell, but yet we're not going to tell.
That's kind of disclosure in itself, really,
If that's real.
If that's real, yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it myself, but if anybody's listening to this.
We want to see this.
We want to see it. Just take a quick picture, send it to the, alienprobepodcast at gmail.com.
Yes.
And I would be happy to, distribute that amongst everyone.
Right. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What got you into this?
And you probably covered this. From time to time, people will ask me because I'm not really fanatical about it, but I have a high interest.
Right.
I've just always been interested. My brother and I, he lives in Texas.
Right.
My stepbrother. He and I, when we were, I was in junior high. He's about 5 years younger than me.
Right.
There was a lot of sightings back in the late 60s.
Right.
Early 70s in the Bay Area.
Right.
Like I was telling you, I'm from down there. And but the only way you could get any information is in the paper.
Right, right. Back then, yeah.
Or on the news. I don't remember if they even talked about it on the news.
Yeah, but rarely. I think they rarely.
Yeah, you hardly ever. But we were talking about, we want to build some radar.
Right.
And find it ourselves.
Yeah. I've heard of people doing that too.
Have you ever, I don't know if you've got that that app, because if you see a light, because we saw really,
you point it and see if it's a star. Yes. Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Yeah, I really enjoy that because I saw something the other night. We're in the backyard.
Point it and you're like, okay, we're good.
It's funny because, I guess not funny, but it's pulsating. They'll be pulsating,
right?
And I'm like, well,
that's different.
That's
There's not
weird.
Not many things pulsate.
I took my phone, came back in, and of course Debbie's like, oh, that looks weird. And remember when the two planets were aligned?
Yes, and people were calling.
Even Debbie says that's not normal.
Right.
Because they just look. I go,
I got Texas because of that. Again, people come
what's this?
Right.
Because
and I didn't even know about it, so I looked it up. I'm like, oh, people are calling for these planets.
I had no idea that was
like
going to
Venus
happen.
and Jupiter,
but they were just perfectly evenly spaced.
Yeah, when they're really like bright. Miles apart, and because of the curvature of the Earth, they're probably over here.
Yeah,
but when you look at it, it looks so much.
I don't know. It's just these weird things. But the other night, it was just pulsating.
Did you record it?
I didn't record it. I took my phone out with the star deal.
Right,
and it was a star.
Was it a star? Yeah. Really? Wow.
It was weird. It almost looked like it wasn't round. It was kind of It's probably because of whatever the atmosphere.
What blows me away about looking out and seeing stars is you're literally looking in. It's like looking in the past. Because a star could have died a million years ago, but yet you're still seeing the light.
Yeah.
And then, let's say next week it's gone because it's gone.
It's interesting. People like us understand the science.
Yeah.
It's, but what do you think about flat Earth?
Oh.
At the end, I thought I would drop that bomb. I didn't warn you.
Yeah, he just dropped it right there. I have heard.
Let me just tell you this: Shelley Lewis, who runs the Flat Earth movement, is a friend of the show. So bear that in mind when you make your comments.
I really haven't done any looking into it. I'm gonna back right on out of this. Right, watch this.
Come on, I want your honest opinion.
I don't know because I really haven't. I'm so involved with UFOs, and now I'm kind of looking.
You got to delve away. You got Bigfoot.
I do. Because you know how it is. You get kind of bored of hearing everything, and you go somewhere else. Let me get past Bigfoot, and then I'll start doing the flat Earth. And then there's ghosts because we've had weird paranormal effects in our house, and people start running to me. And as soon as you say ghost around people, they start saying that. So I'm not ready for flat Earth yet.
We did. Deb and I did paranormal stories right in the beginning when we were, looking for topics.
Right.
And we did.
Did you have any yourself?
No,
okay.
Really. Some couple weird things, but nothing that, stands.
We had some good ones at the house after my wife had lost her mother, and this is at our house. She's in the bedroom, hands, she's all bound up, and boy, I'm going to say this one real quick. I know it's a UFO story.
No, it's okay. We talk about everything.
We're asleep. She's asleep. I'm on the toilet, and of course, when you're married, you're on the toilet with the door open. All of a sudden, I hear a bang, and I'm like, "Babe, are you awake?" And she's not awake. So I finish my business. I get up, and she smokes one of those vape pins. It's a heavy one. I mean, it's like this. It's like this heavy.
Wow.
It's sitting there by the bathroom door, and there's no way you could throw that in your sleep. And actually, it was like 2 bangs. So she could have thrown it and hit it here, but she was bound and asleep exactly when I got up and remember her. Wow. So we're like, what is that? Something picked that thing up and threw it over by the door.
Somebody was not happy that she had that.
Right, exactly. The other story, real quick, I know,
that's fine.
was
Go ahead.
She used to freak out when the dogs messed up the blinds. You see how your blinds are here?
Yeah.
If they were standing straight, she would literally run her hand through and fix them because the dogs messed them up. Well, one day, morning, my wife came home from something. I was asleep, and she said she saw somebody fix the blinds. And she's like, "Oh, Mom used to do that." So she walked in. I'm dead asleep. And she woke me up. She goes, "You didn't mess with the blinds, did you?" I'm like, "No, I sure did not." And why? And she's like, "Because somebody was messing the blinds. There's nobody in the house." I literally watched it outside the car in the window. But yeah, so that's my ghost story.
That's your ghost story. Yeah, we talk about everything here. Yeah. Nothing's off limits.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's what I like about it. It's the stress, high strangeness.
Cool. We're gonna wrap it up.
All right.
That was a fast hour. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website at alienprobe.net. Has all of our episodes on it. Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. Like and subscribe at YouTube at Alien Probe Podcast. You can put in Doug Anthony. That'll bring it right to the top. Thanks to our senior producer, Robert Anthony. And, of course, Matt.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Matt, and the name of the band again is?
VeronicaLucia.rocks. That's what you can find.
And where are you playing next?
We're playing April 8th at the Old Ironsides in Sacramento. Come down and see us. Wear a cool aluminum foil hat.
Nice. Okay, that's it for today. And watch the skies.
Always watch the skies.